Your weakness isn't a tragedy. It's a choice. Every day you actively choose to remain weak, undisciplined, and unfulfilled. You don't lack resources, you lack resolve. You don't need more information, you need more implementation. The harsh truth most motivational speakers won't tell you. Comfort is slowly killing your potential. While you consume inspiration and collect knowledge, your life is passing by without transformation. Your addiction to convenience is your greatest liability. The seed never argues with the soil. Have you ever thought about that? The seed never complains about the darkness. The seed never protests against the pressure. The seed never resists the process. The seed simply surrenders to the journey of transformation. But we humans, we resist, we fight, we complain. And in doing so, we remain exactly where we are, weak, unfulfilled, and living far beneath our potential. What separates those who rise and those who remain? What distinguishes those who transform their lives and those who merely exist in theirs? What is the fundamental difference between those who build empires and those who barely build a life? The answer is not talent. The answer is not opportunity. The answer is not luck. The answer is discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Discipline is the currency that purchases your dreams. Discipline is the fire that forges ordinary men and women into extraordinary human beings. And here's the brutal truth. If you have no discipline, you will stay weak forever. Your weakness is not your destiny unless you choose it to be. Your current condition is not your conclusion unless you surrender to it. But without discipline, surrender is inevitable. Without discipline, weakness becomes your permanent address. The room you're sitting in right now is filled with two types of people. There are those who are being shaped by life, and there are those who are shaping their lives. Which one are you? Life responds not to your intentions, but to your actions. Life rewards not your dreams, but your decisions. Life transforms not because of what you want, but because of what you're willing to work for consistently. The difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do. And what you do consistently requires discipline. Let me take you deeper. Most people live their entire lives reacting to circumstances rather than creating them. They wake up and check their phones before they check their souls. They respond to notifications before they respond to their deepest calling. They arrange their days around urgency rather than importance. Is this you? The undisciplined life is a life of reaction. The undisciplined life is a life of permission, waiting for someone or something to give you permission to live fully. The undisciplined life is a life of excuses, finding sophisticated reasons why you cannot do what you know you should do. The disciplined life is a life of creation. The disciplined life is a life of intention. The disciplined life is a life of responsibility, understanding that your life is responding to your choices, not to your circumstances. And here's what many don't understand. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is preparation. Discipline is not limitation. Discipline is liberation. The most disciplined person in the room is the most free person in the room. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have more time than others? Have you ever noticed how some individuals accomplish in a day what takes others a week? It's not because they have more hours. It's because they have more discipline. Discipline creates time by eliminating waste. Discipline creates energy by eliminating drain. Discipline creates opportunity by eliminating distraction. What drains do you need to eliminate? What distractions are stealing your destiny? The greatest thief of potential is not opposition. It's distraction. And distraction thrives in the soil of an undisciplined mind. Let me tell you something profound. Your life moves in the direction of your most dominant thoughts. Your life becomes what you consistently think about. And what you consistently think about is determined by what you consistently expose yourself to. The undisciplined mind consumes whatever is placed before it. The disciplined mind carefully selects what it allows in. The undisciplined mind is a dumping ground. The disciplined mind is sacred territory. Are you guarding the territory of your mind? Every great achievement began as a thought that was protected, nurtured, and consistently revisited through discipline. Every failure began as a thought that was abandoned, neglected, or inconsistently pursued due to lack of discipline. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your thoughts. The quality of your thoughts is determined by the quality of your mental diet. And the quality of your mental diet is determined by the quality of your discipline. What are you feeding your mind daily? What thoughts are you nurturing consistently? What mental diet are you subjecting yourself to? Here's a truth that may sting. Most people have the diet of mental paupers while expecting the results of mental kings and queens. They consume fear and expect to produce courage. They consume distraction and expect to produce focus. They consume entertainment and expect to produce enlightenment. This is the definition of insanity. Your input determines your output. Your consumption determines your production. And discipline is what governs both. Let's go deeper still. Many confuse motivation with discipline. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a choice. Motivation comes and goes like the tide. Discipline remains like bedrock. The person who relies on motivation will start strong and finish weak. The person who relies on discipline will start strong and finish stronger. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not suggesting that feelings don't matter. I'm telling you that feelings make terrible masters but excellent servants. And it is discipline that determines whether your feelings serve you or whether you serve them. The undisciplined person says, I don't feel like it today, so I won't do it. The disciplined person says, I don't feel like it today, but I will do it anyway, because my commitment is to my purpose, not to my preferences. Your feelings will lie to you. Your feelings will tell you that comfort now is better than growth later. Your feelings will convince you that immediate pleasure outweighs delayed purpose. And here's the tragic truth. Most people never discover their greatness because they cannot move beyond what feels good to what produces good. The space between who you are and who you are capable of becoming is filled with discomfort. The gap between your current reality and your deepest potential is paved with inconvenience. And it is only discipline that gives you the strength to embrace that discomfort, to welcome that inconvenience as the necessary price of transformation. What discomfort are you avoiding that's keeping you from your destiny? Think about the caterpillar for a moment. If the caterpillar avoided the discomfort of the cocoon, it would never experience the freedom of flight. If the caterpillar resisted the inconvenience of transformation, it would never know the joy of becoming a butterfly. Your cocoon is your discipline. Your transformation happens inside the constraints that you willingly embrace. But here's the problem. We live in a culture that celebrates comfort over character, that prizes convenience over conviction, that values instant gratification over gradual growth. We have created a society where weakness is coddled rather than challenged, where mediocrity is accepted rather than confronted, where average is applauded rather than transcended. And in this environment, discipline becomes revolutionary. In this culture, discipline becomes an act of rebellion. In this society, discipline becomes the ultimate expression of self-love. Because true self-love is not giving yourself whatever you want. True self-love is giving yourself whatever you need to become the person you were created to be. Do you love yourself enough to be disciplined? Do you value your purpose enough to be inconvenienced? Do you treasure your potential enough to be uncomfortable? These are not idle questions. These are the questions that determine destinies. Let me address something important. Many people misunderstand what weakness is. Weakness is not the absence of strength. Weakness is the absence of development. Weakness is not about what you lack naturally. Weakness is about what you neglect intentionally. Everyone begins weak in some area. Everyone starts as a novice at something. The difference between those who remain weak and those who become strong is simply discipline applied over time. The strong person was once weak but refused to remain there. The masterful person was once mediocre but rejected that as their permanent condition. The expert was once a beginner but would not accept that as their final identity. What weakness have you accepted that discipline could transform? I want you to understand something profound. Discipline is love in action. When you discipline yourself, you are saying to yourself, I love you too much to leave you where you are. I love you too much to let you settle for less than your best. I love you too much to allow temporary pleasure to rob you of permanent purpose. Parents who truly love their children discipline them. Not out of anger, but out of vision, because they can see what the child cannot see. They understand what the child cannot understand. They know what the child cannot know. And in the same way, the mature part of you must parent the immature part of you. The visionary in you must guide the short-sighted in you. The leader in you must direct the follower in you. This is self-leadership. This is self-mastery. This is discipline. But it requires that you develop the capacity to delay gratification. It demands that you cultivate the ability to choose the painful right over the pleasant wrong. It necessitates that you build the strength to select the difficult best over the easy good. The undisciplined person is a slave to their impulses. The disciplined person is a master of their impulses. The undisciplined person is directed by their desires. The disciplined person directs their desires. Which one are you? Let me tell you about the law of harvest. This law states that you reap what you sow. You reap after you sow. And you reap more than you sow. The undisciplined person violates this law in three ways. First, they expect to reap what they have not sown. They want the harvest of health without sowing the seeds of healthy habits. They desire the harvest of wealth without planting the seeds of wise financial decisions. They crave the harvest of strong relationships without cultivating the seeds of consistent investment. Second, they expect to reap before they sow. They want the results before the effort, the reward before the work, the victory before the battle. Third, they expect to reap exactly what they sow. They plant small seeds of effort but expect giant harvests of success. They invest minimal time but anticipate maximum results. The disciplined person honors the law of harvest. They understand that today's decisions determine tomorrow's reality. They recognize that current habits create future outcomes. They know that present disciplines produce future dividends. What seeds are you sowing today? What harvest are you preparing for tomorrow? Every decision you make is a seed. Every habit you form is a seed. Every thought you entertain is a seed. And these seeds will produce a harvest in your life, either one you desire or one you dread. Discipline is intentional planting. Discipline is purposeful cultivation. Discipline is patient expectation. The farmer doesn't plant today and dig up the seed tomorrow to check if it's growing. The farmer plants in faith, cultivates with diligence, and waits with patience. This is the mindset of discipline. But here's what makes discipline challenging. You must believe in harvest you cannot yet see. You must trust in outcomes you cannot yet touch. You must invest in results that are not yet realized. The power of discipline becomes clearest when we understand what it produces. Discipline doesn't just change what you do, it transforms who you are. When you practice discipline, you're actually rewiring your brain. You're creating new neural pathways. You're establishing new patterns of thought and behavior that eventually become automatic. This is the miracle of discipline. What begins as difficult eventually becomes natural. But the journey between difficult and natural, that's where most people quit. That's where the weak remain weak. That's where potential dies unfulfilled. I want to ask you a question that might change your life. What are the few disciplines that, if practiced consistently, would completely transform your life in the next year? Not 20 things. Not 10 things. Just a few key disciplines. For some of you, it might be waking up 1 hour earlier. For others, it might be reading 30 minutes daily. For others still, it might be exercising 4 times a week. For others, it might be saving 20% of your income. The specifics vary, but the principle remains: small disciplines practiced consistently produce massive results over time. The problem is that many people despise the day of small beginnings. They want massive results immediately. But that's not how life works. That's not how growth works. That's not how transformation works. The mighty oak tree begins as a tiny acorn. The powerful river begins as a small stream. The magnificent skyscraper begins with a single foundation stone. And the extraordinary life begins with ordinary disciplines practiced daily. What is your acorn? What is your small stream? What is your foundation stone? The tragedy of our time is not that we aim too high and fail. The tragedy is that we aim too low and succeed. We settle for mediocrity when greatness is within reach. We accept average when extraordinary is possible. And why? Because greatness requires discipline, and discipline requires discomfort. But what if the discomfort is actually the path? What if the resistance is actually the route? What if the struggle is actually the strategy? When you lift weights, it's the resistance that builds the muscle. When you run uphill, it's the incline that builds endurance. When you solve difficult problems, it's the challenge that builds intelligence. In the same way, it's the discipline of facing what's uncomfortable that builds character. It's the discipline of doing what's difficult that builds capability. It's the discipline of embracing what's challenging that builds confidence. Most people run from resistance. The disciplined person runs toward it. Most people avoid inclines. The disciplined person seeks them out. Most people evade challenges. The disciplined person embraces them. Which approach are you taking in your life? Let me share something powerful with you. Discipline is the doorway to development. Every area of your life that remains undeveloped is simply an area where you've been undisciplined. Your finances aren't undeveloped because you lack opportunity. They're undeveloped because you lack financial discipline. Your health isn't undeveloped because you lack knowledge. It's undeveloped because you lack health discipline. Your relationships aren't undeveloped because you lack love. They're undeveloped because you lack relational discipline. Discipline is the common denominator of all development. Where discipline exists, growth follows. Where discipline is absent, stagnation results. What areas of your life need greater discipline right now? Here's a principle that changed my life. What you do daily determines what you become permanently. Your daily routine is creating your future reality. Your habitual actions are shaping your ultimate outcomes. The disciplined person understands that greatness is not achieved in a moment of glory, but in a lifetime of small, consistent choices. Champions are not made on the field during the game. They are made on the practice field when no one is watching. Your private disciplines predict your public rewards. Your hidden habits forecast your visible victories. Your secret sacrifices determine your seen successes. What are you doing when no one is watching? What disciplines are you practicing in private? What habits are you forming in secret? Remember this, weak people make decisions based on feelings. Strong people make decisions based on goals. Weak people prioritize comfort. Strong people prioritize growth. Weak people seek the path of least resistance. Strong people seek the path of most development. And the only way to move from weakness to strength is through discipline. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against external enemies. It's the internal war between the person you are and the person you're capable of becoming. And in this war, discipline is your greatest weapon. But here's what many don't understand. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about progression. It's not about never falling. It's about always rising. It's not about avoiding mistakes. It's about learning from them and continuing forward. The disciplined person is not someone who never fails. The disciplined person is someone who never quits. The disciplined person is not someone who never stumbles. The disciplined person is someone who stumbles 7 times and gets up 8. Hear me clearly, your failures don't disqualify you. They educate you. Your setbacks don't define you. They develop you. Your mistakes don't destroy you. They mature you. But only if you have the discipline to extract the lesson from every failure, to mine the meaning from every setback, to harvest the wisdom from every mistake. Most people waste their failures. They experience them without examining them. They endure them without extracting from them. They suffer them without learning from them. The disciplined person turns failures into classrooms, setbacks into stepping stones, and mistakes into mentors. This is the alchemy of discipline, transforming the lead of disappointment into the gold of development. What disappointments are you currently experiencing that discipline could transform into development? I want to address something critical. Discipline is not just about what you do. It's also about what you decide not to do. The disciplined person understands that every yes is also a no to something else. Every commitment is also a constraint. Every decision is also a direction. This is why weak people struggle with decisions. They want every option without any obligation. They want every opportunity without any commitment. They want every possibility without any responsibility. But life doesn't work that way. You cannot have everything. You must choose. And in choosing, you must exclude. This is the discipline of decision. What do you need to say no to so that you can fully say yes to what matters most? Remember this principle. The root of discipline is focus, and the enemy of focus is distraction. The more options you keep open, the less power you can direct toward what's truly important. Water spread over a vast area creates a swamp. Water channeled through a narrow opening creates a powerful force. Your energy, your time, your attention, your resources, all of these are like water. Spread them everywhere, and you create a swamp of mediocrity. Channel them with discipline, and you create a force of excellence. Which are you creating in your life, a swamp or a force? Let me share something that might surprise you. The ultimate purpose of discipline is not achievement. It's alignment. It's bringing your daily actions into harmony with your deepest values. It's ensuring that how you live matches why you live. When your actions align with your values, you experience peace. When your behaviors align with your beliefs, you experience power. When your habits align with your heart, you experience purpose. This alignment doesn't happen by accident. It happens by intention. It happens by discipline. What values are most important to you? What beliefs define your life? What purpose drives your heart? And most importantly, are your daily disciplines aligned with these? Because here's the sobering truth. You may say you value health, but your disciplines reveal what you truly value. You may claim you value family, but your disciplines demonstrate what you really prioritize. You may declare you value growth, but your disciplines display what you genuinely pursue. Your disciplines don't lie. They reveal the truth about what you value, what you believe, and what you love. And in this revelation, many discover a painful gap. A gap between what they say and what they do, between what they claim and what they choose, between what they profess and what they practice. Discipline is the bridge that closes this gap. Discipline is the vehicle that transports you from profession to practice, from declaration to demonstration, from saying to doing. But this transportation requires fuel. And the fuel of discipline is purpose. Without purpose, discipline devolves into drudgery. Without meaning, discipline mutates into misery. Without a why, discipline withers into weariness. This is why so many people start strong but finish weak. They have the what of discipline but lack the why. They know what to do but have forgotten why they're doing it. They understand the actions but have lost touch with the aspiration. Your discipline will never outpace your purpose. Your commitment will never exceed your conviction. Your persistence will never surpass your passion. So let me ask you, what is your purpose? What is your why? What is so important to you that it makes discipline not just necessary but natural? When your why is strong enough, the how becomes easier. When your purpose is powerful enough, the process becomes lighter. When your reason is compelling enough, the resistance becomes smaller. Purpose transforms discipline from a burden you carry to a wind that carries you. Are you struggling with discipline? Look first to your purpose. Are you fighting with consistency? Examine first your conviction. Are you battling with persistence? Investigate first your passion. The problem might not be your discipline. The problem might be your direction. Let me share something profound. Discipline without direction leads to frustration. Many people are disciplined but directionless. They're working hard but getting nowhere. They're making effort but seeing no progress. They're sacrificing but receiving no reward. The issue isn't their work ethic. The issue is their work direction. They're climbing with great effort but up the wrong ladder. They're running with great speed but on the wrong road. They're building with great skill but on the wrong foundation. Direction determines destination. Path determines progress. Route determines results. What direction are your disciplines taking you? What destination are your habits creating for you? What future are your consistent choices constructing for you? The disciplined person regularly evaluates not just how they are doing, but where they are going. Not just their effort, but their aim. Not just their consistency, but their course. This is the discipline of direction, ensuring that your consistent actions are taking you toward your desired destination. But there's another crucial element to discipline that's often overlooked: environment. Your environment is either nurturing your discipline or negating it. Your surroundings are either supporting your growth or sabotaging it. Your context is either reinforcing your commitments or undermining them. This is why the disciplined person carefully crafts their environment. They understand that willpower alone is insufficient. They recognize that determination by itself is inadequate. They know that intention without infrastructure often leads to failure. The disciplined person removes temptations before they need to resist them. They eliminate distractions before they need to ignore them. They establish structures before they need to rely on strength. What in your environment is making discipline more difficult than it needs to be? What in your surroundings is setting you up for failure rather than success? What in your context is pulling you away from your commitments rather than pushing you toward them? Remember this principle. It's easier to create an environment that supports your disciplines than to maintain disciplines that fight against your environment. The fish that swims against the current eventually tires and is swept away. The wise fish either finds a different current or changes the flow. In what ways do you need to change your current? How do you need to alter your flow? Discipline isn't just about trying harder. It's about positioning better. It's not just about more effort. It's about better environment. It's not just about greater willpower. It's about wiser surroundings. As we bring this journey to a close, I want to leave you with the most important truth about discipline. It's not a destination. It's a decision. And it's a decision you must make every single day. Discipline is not something you achieve once and possess forever. It's something you choose moment by moment, day by day, decision by decision. The question is not, have you become disciplined? The question is, are you choosing discipline today? Because here's the reality. Yesterday's discipline cannot sustain today's demands. Last week's commitments cannot fulfill this week's challenges. Last month's decisions cannot determine this month's destiny. Discipline must be renewed daily. Commitment must be refreshed regularly. Dedication must be revitalized repeatedly. This is why discipline is both the hardest and simplest thing you will ever do. It's hard because it never ends. It's simple because it only requires one decision at a time. Don't be overwhelmed by thinking of discipline as a lifetime commitment. Think of it as a daily choice. Don't be intimidated by seeing discipline as a mountain to climb. See it as a step to take. Just one choice. Just one step. Just one decision. That's all discipline asks of you in this moment. And then another in the next moment. And another after that. Can you make one disciplined choice right now? Can you take one disciplined step today? Can you make one disciplined decision in this moment? If you can, then you have begun the journey from weakness to strength. Remember the central truth we began with. If you have no discipline, you will stay weak forever. But the beautiful flip side of this truth is equally powerful. If you embrace discipline, you will grow strong inevitably. Strength is the natural result of consistent discipline. Power is the unavoidable outcome of persistent commitment. Growth is the inevitable product of sustained dedication. Just as the seed inevitably becomes the tree through the process of growth, you inevitably become strong through the process of discipline. The seed doesn't question the soil. It surrenders to it. The seed doesn't resist the darkness. It responds to it. The seed doesn't fight the process. It fulfills it. And in that surrender, in that response, in that fulfillment, the seed discovers its destiny. Not by demanding, not by rushing, not by controlling, but by yielding to the process that transforms. This is your invitation. Yield to the process of discipline. Surrender to the journey of growth. Respond to the call of transformation. The road from weakness to strength is paved with daily disciplines. The path from mediocrity to mastery is marked by moment choices. The journey from average to exceptional is illuminated by consistent commitments. Will you walk this road? Will you travel this path? Will you embark on this journey? The choice is yours. It has always been yours. And it will always be yours. You can remain where you are, as you are. Or you can become who you were created to be. Weakness or strength. Stagnation or growth. Mediocrity or mastery. The difference is discipline. Choose wisely. Choose daily. Choose now. For in this moment, with this choice, your transformation begins.